What's up, YouTube? Zero here, and welcome to the place where gamers, witches, wizards, and superheroes unite. Today, I have an epic early magic / agility build for the no Hibino in Shin Megami Tensei V. Now, my character is going to be at level 24, but this is a great build for around that level, so if you're a little bit lower or a little bit higher, you can still see where my points are allocated and what moves I'm utilizing on my no Hibino. In this video, I'll go over those moves that I'm using, where I've pretty much allocated my points by level 24. I'll also go over what resistances I am currently utilizing, why I've utilized them, and also why you may want to change them up. I'll also go over the miracles on my build as well, talk about which ones are really important and maybe which ones aren't so important. Without further ado, let's talk about the build. So again, I'm at level 24. Strength and Vitality is at 17 and 18 respectively. However, I have not invested a point in those. They've just increased over time. Magic and Agility, where the bread and butter of this build is at 26 and 31. So focus on investing in those. My luck is at 18. I've put 1 or 2 points into those, but not a lot. Skill-wise, I have Hama, and that's going to be a +1. That's a miracle that does increase that. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Then we go down to Life Drain, which is an almighty that drains attack. Hama's a light attack. Bufu is that weak ice attack. Zio's a weak electric. And Agi is going to be our weak fire, which gives us really good coverage. And I'll talk about why I've decided on these 5 skills later in the video. So now let's talk about the miracles now that we've gone over what skills I've chosen on this level 24 build. And first we're going to start with Mag Wellspring, which is all allies will slightly recover HP and MP if the mag is full at the start of a turn. This is absolutely fantastic, pretty good for this build because you may be hoarding onto this every once in a while. You may not use it every battle, so you can regain that HP and MP. Then again, Fell Swoop, another great one for the build. The mag gauge will very slightly increase when inflicting weaker critical. We saw the coverage that we have with the skills. Forestall, slashing an enemy in the field without being noticed, will greatly increase mag gauge, and we do need our mag a lot for this build. And Deathly Aura, cornered demons may beg for their life, not as important. Art of Essence, which allows additional skills to be selected for essences, so those two are pretty important. And then Divine Amalgamation allows the no Hibino to acquire affinity resistances and essences, and this is extremely important. We need to be able to require resistances from those essences. Divine Garrison allows us to hold more demons, really nice to have. Divine Proficiency, this is extremely important, increases the no Hibino skill slots by 1. And then we also have Demon Proficiency to allow our demons to get 1 extra skill as well. Now I also have Electric Mastery and Light Mastery to increase the effectiveness of both the electric and light type moves. And I'll tell you why I've chosen those two. Because up to this point in the game, now this also depends on how much you explore, how many side quests you've taken on, but I'll give you my statistics. At this point in the game, at level 24, I have faced 10 bosses. Again, not all main story bosses, some of these are side quest bosses, but due to my nature of trying to be a completionist, I faced 10 bosses. Out of these 10 bosses, 5 of them are weak to either electric or weak to light or a combination. So that gives me 50% coverage. On top of that, the standard demons that I've come across 27 by level 24. Now again, these numbers could vary depending upon how much you explore, but I've come across 27. Out of those 27, 15 of them are weak to electric, are weak to light, or a combination. So that gives me 15 out of 27 that I'm able to hit with increased power and reduced MP. But of course, I also have a fire and an ice type move to give me even more coverage. I just have the increase from the miracles for electric and light because that gives me the most coverage, and it reduces the MP cost of those moves and makes them a little bit more powerful. But with the combination of those skills in the skill tree that you just saw, fire, ice, light, and electric, I actually am fully covered for all of my bosses. 10 out of 10 bosses are weak to at least one of those moves by this point in the game. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, why are we ignoring force and dark type skills? Those are other skills in this game. Well, at this point in the game, by level 24, 0 bosses that I've faced are weak to dark, so really don't need to worry about that. And only 2 are weak to force, but they are covered by other skills that I have, so I don't need to worry about force. Also, those standard enemies, again, not many of them are going to be weak to dark or force up to this point in the game. Later in the game, maybe, but not at this point. So let's focus on the light and electric part of this build, combined with the magic, which is going to increase our power of those moves, as well as our Agi and Bufu. We also have our life drain, which is a nice, well-rounded move that can give us some health back if we are losing health. And then let's talk about the resistances a little bit. So we saw my resistances that I had. I actually changed the No Habino's normal resistance from what it originally was, which was weak to dark and force, to actually being strong against force and weak to fire and ice. And the reason why I do that is this boss battle right here against Nua. She deals force type damage, and you can see I just blocked her attack. That's extremely important because the Nua is a very powerful opponent. So at this point in the game, I preferred to be resistant against force, but you can be resistant against whatever you want. I do recommend, again, we saw the miracle that allows me to take the resistances from essences. I recommend changing this up as the game goes on, but being resistant or blocking force at this point in the game is extremely important facing Nua because she is a very powerful opponent, which is why I chose to go with that resistance. I haven't been hit much by fire and ice, so I haven't had to worry about that too much up to level 24. So being resistant against force is where it's at. So let me know in the comments section what type of build you've gone with and what you think about this one. Are you going with the magic agility or do you have another build in mind? I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, feel free to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more Shin Megami Tensei videos. I do a bunch of other RPGs, so feel free to check those out as well. Till next time, peace.